The Immortal Light of Claudia Cardinale. Claude Josephine Rose Claudia Cardinale, April 15, 1938 to September 23, 2025, was an iconic Italian actress whose career spanned more than 6 decades, establishing her as one of the foremost figures of Italian and European cinema alongside contemporaries such as Sophia Loren and Gina Lollobrigida. Widely celebrated in the 1960s as the most beautiful woman in the world and recognized as a defining sex symbol of her era, Cardinale appeared in over 175 films, predominantly produced in Italy and France, across a remarkable range of genres including comedy, drama, spaghetti westerns, and historical epics. She collaborated with some of cinema's most acclaimed directors, including Federico Fellini, Sergio Leone, and Werner Herzog, and her performances in several films are regarded as landmark contributions to film history. At the time of her passing, she was among the last surviving stars from the golden age of European cinema. Born and raised in La Goulette, a coastal municipality near Tunis in Tunisia, Cardinale's entry into cinema was facilitated by her victory in the 1957 Most Beautiful Italian Girl in Tunisia competition, which awarded her a trip to Italy and subsequently led to multiple film opportunities, largely under the guidance of producer Franco Cristaldi, who later became her husband and lifelong mentor. She made her film debut in a supporting role alongside Egyptian star Omar Sharif in Goha, 1958, and quickly rose to prominence in Italian cinema, delivering acclaimed performances in films such as Rocco and His Brothers, 1960, Girl with a Suitcase, 1961, Cartouche, 1962, The Leopard, 1963, and Federico Fellini's, 1963. By 1963, Cardinale had entered the international scene with her appearance in The Pink Panther opposite David Niven, followed by prominent roles in Hollywood productions including Blindfold, 1966, Lost Command, 1966, The Professionals, 1966, Don't Make Waves, 1967, with Tony Curtis, The Hell with Heroes, 1968, The Red Tent, 1969, A Fine Pair, 1968, The Salamander, 1981, and the Sergio Leone western Once Upon a Time in the West, 1968, where her portrayal of a former prostitute opposite Jason Robards, Charles Bronson, and Henry Fonda earned critical acclaim. Despite her success in Hollywood, Cardinale chose to return to Italian and French cinema to avoid becoming typecast, and her talent was recognized with multiple David D. Donatello Awards for Best Actress for her performances in The Day of the Owl, 1968, and as a prostitute alongside Alberto Sordi in A Girl in Australia, 1971. In 1974, Cardinale began a personal and professional partnership with director Pasquale Squitieri, frequently appearing in his films, including Blood Brothers, 1974, Father of the Godfathers, 1978, and Claretta, 1984, the latter earning her the Nastro d'Argento Award for Best Actress. She also delivered a memorable performance in Werner Herzog's Fitzcarraldo, 1982, portraying the love interest of Klaus Kinski's character in a story centered on ambition and obsession in the Peruvian jungle. Later in her career, she continued to receive critical recognition, exemplified by her Best Actress Award at the 47th Antalya Golden Orange International Film Festival in 2010 for her portrayal of an elderly Italian woman who takes in a young Turkish exchange student in Signora Enrica. Beyond her cinematic achievements, Cardinale was an outspoken advocate for women's rights and became a UNESCO Goodwill Ambassador for the defense of women's rights in March 2000. Her enduring beauty, talent, and influence were acknowledged internationally, with the Los Angeles Times Magazine naming her among the 50 most beautiful women in film history in February 2011. Cardinale's legacy remains as a testament to her extraordinary contributions to global cinema, her cultural impact, and her unwavering advocacy for gender equality. Claudia Cardinale was born on April 15, 1938 in La Goulette, a port municipality near Tunis. Her father, Francesco Cardinale, was a railway worker originally from Gela, Sicily, while her mother, Yolanda Greco, was born in the then Italian Tripolitania to Sicilian parents who had emigrated from Trapani, where they had owned a small shipbuilding firm. The family later settled in La Goulette, which at the time had a substantial Italian community. At home, Cardinale spoke only French and the Sicilian dialect of her parents, and she did not learn Italian until she began acting in Italian films. She received her early education at the St. Joseph del Apparition School of Carthage, where she studied alongside her younger sister, Blanche, before continuing her studies at the Paul Cambon School with the intention of becoming a teacher. As a teenager, she was described as silent, weird, and wild, and like many young women of her generation, was captivated by the rising star Brigitte Bardot, whose breakthrough role in the 1956 film And God Created Woman made a profound impression on her. Claudia Cardinale's entry into cinema began in the 1950s with her participation, alongside classmates, in a short film by French director René Vaudier, A Nose d'Or, which was successfully presented at the Berlin Film Festival and brought her minor local fame. This exposure led to her being noticed by director Jacques Baratier, who offered her a small role in Goha, opposite Egyptian star Omar Sharif. Although initially hesitant, she accepted the part after Baratier explained that he sought a Tunisian actress rather than an Italian for the role. This appearance marked Cardinale's feature film debut. Her breakthrough came in 1957 during the Italian Cinema Week in Tunis, when she won the competition for Most Beautiful Italian Girl in Tunisia, receiving a trip to the Venice Film Festival as the first prize. Her striking appearance caught the attention of several film producers, leading to an invitation to study at the Experimental Cinematography Center in Rome under Tina Lattanzi. Cardinale attended briefly, but struggled with the acting assignments, in part due to her limited knowledge of Italian, and left at the end of her first term, returning home. A decision that earned her a cover story in the popular weekly Epoca, as it was unexpected for someone of her photogenic appeal to turn away from a film career. Upon returning to Tunis, Cardinale discovered that she was pregnant as a result of a brief but tumultuous relationship with a Frenchman approximately 10 years her senior, which had begun when she was only 17. Despite pressure from him to terminate the pregnancy, she chose to keep the child. To manage her circumstances, she signed a 7-year exclusive contract with Franco Cristaldi's production company, Vides, who became both her professional mentor and later her husband from 1966 to 1975. Under this contract, Cardinale began to establish herself in Italian cinema, appearing in 1958 in Mario Monicelli's internationally successful criminal comedy Big Deal on Madonna Street, I Solita Ignoti, alongside Italian actors Vittorio Gassman, Toto, Marcello Mastroianni, and Renato Salvatore. She portrayed Carmelita, a Sicilian girl virtually imprisoned in her home by her domineering brother, in a role that immediately made her recognizable and earned her the nickname La Fidanzata d'Italia, Italy's sweetheart, in the press. Later that year, she played a leading role with Yvonne Monlor in Claudio Gora's romantic comedy Three Strangers in Rome. During this period, Cardinale continued to work into her 7th month of pregnancy, keeping it secret from both co-workers and the public. The pregnancy caused her considerable emotional distress, including depression and suicidal thoughts. Aware that she could no longer conceal her condition or fulfill her obligations to Cristaldi, she requested that he terminate her contract. In response, Cristaldi arranged for her to travel to London for the birth, far from the press, under the pretense of studying English for film purposes. To maintain secrecy, he devised a highly detailed, restrictive contract that controlled nearly every aspect of her life, effectively depriving her of autonomy over her own decisions and public image. For 7 years, Cardinale kept her pregnancy hidden not only from the public, but also from her son, Patrick, who was raised by her parents and sister as though he were a brother, until journalist Enzo Biaggi uncovered the truth. Cardinale ultimately shared her story with Biaggi, who published it in both Oggi and L'Europeo. In 1959, Cardinale appeared opposite Renato Salvatore in the mafia film Vento del Sud and played the wife of Maurizio Arena in Luigi Zampa's Il Magistrato. She also starred alongside Pietro Germi in his crime film The Facts of Murder, a role that she considered her first substantial test as an actress, providing her with an opportunity to master her craft and develop ease in front of the camera. Additionally, she portrayed Maria in Ralph Thomas's British film Upstairs and Downstairs, which featured Michael Craig and Anne Haywood. In her early career, many of Cardinale's roles were dubbed by other actresses, as producers deemed her voice too hoarse, yet her performances nonetheless demonstrated a natural screen presence and a burgeoning versatility that would define her illustrious career. The 1960s marked a defining period in Claudia Cardinale's career, establishing her as one of the foremost actresses in European and international cinema. In 1960, She starred opposite Marcello Mastroianni in Mauro Bolognini's Il Bell'Antonio, a Golden Leopard-winning drama that initiated a highly productive and creatively fulfilling collaboration. Cardinale later described her work with Bolognini as among the most joyful of her career, praising him as a director of rare professional capability and great cultural and aesthetic sensibility, as well as a sensitive and sincere friend. In several of Bolognini's films, her natural aesthetic femininity allowed her to portray complex women whose manipulations led men toward ruin. During the filming of Il Bell'Antonio, Mastroianni reportedly fell in love with Cardinale, though she did not take his feelings seriously. Nevertheless, the genuine empathy between the actors enhanced the tension between their characters. That same year, Cardinale portrayed Pauline Bonaparte in Abel Gance's French historical epic Austerlitz, and appeared alongside Vittorio Gassman and Renato Salvatore in Audis Colpo dei Soliti Ignoti, the sequel to Big Deal on Madonna Street. She also took on the role of Ginetta, the fiancée of Spiros Focas, in Luchino Visconti's critically acclaimed Rocco and His Brothers, further establishing her reputation for versatility. Her leading performance in Francesco Maselli's Silver Spoon set drew particular attention, with critics praising the sweetness of her smile and noting the film as a pivotal step toward her widespread recognition. In 1961, Cardinale delivered one of her most psychologically demanding performances as Ida, a sultry nightclub singer and young mother, in Valerio Zerlini's Girl with a Suitcase. Drawing upon her own experience of early motherhood, she was able to fully inhabit the character, conveying the anxieties and resilience of a teenage mother with authenticity. Preparing for the role required several months of intense reflection, and despite advice to the contrary, Zerlini insisted on casting her, recognizing her potential despite her then limited status as an actress and relative obscurity in terms of Italian stardom. Their professional relationship developed into a close personal friendship, with Cardinale remarking on Zerlini's exceptional sensitivity and capacity to understand her without making demands. Her performance in Girl with a Suitcase received critical acclaim, with reviewers noting her as being at her charming best. Later in 1961, she starred as a prostitute opposite Jean-Paul Belmondo in Bolognini's The Lovemakers, and both films were presented at the Cannes Film Festival. During this period, while not yet considered on par with Italian cinema icons Sophia Loren and Gina Lollobrigida, several international publications, including Paris Match, began to identify her as a credible young rival to Brigitte Bardot. Her 1961 filmography also included Henri Verneuil's French comedy The Lions Are Loose and a cameo role in Auguste. By 1962, Cardinale had solidified her star status in France with her role as Venus in the 18th-century adventure film Cartouche alongside Jean-Paul Belmondo, while also portraying Angiolina in Bolognini's Careless, earning recognition for her vivacious and striking presence. That year, she was interviewed by the writer Alberto Moravia, who focused on her sexuality and physical appearance in films, prompting her to remark that she used her body as a mask to represent herself. Moravia's fascination with her inspired his subsequent novel La Die dell'Amore, which featured a character closely resembling Cardinale. She later portrayed similar characters in adaptations of Moravia's works, including Time of Indifference. The pinnacle of Cardinale's career came in 1963, widely regarded as her most prolific year. She starred alongside Burt Lancaster in Luchino Visconti's The Leopard, Il Gattopardo, portraying Angelica, a village girl who marries a progressive young aristocrat played by Alain Delon. Simultaneously, she appeared as herself in Federico Fellini's Working Under two contrasting directorial styles. Visconti's meticulously structured, almost reverential approach versus Fellini's improvisational and chaotic methodology. Her ability to navigate both environments highlighted her adaptability and professionalism. Prior to this period, her own voice had not been used in Italian films due to its perceived hoarseness and her French accent. Cardinale described it as throaty, husky, and dark, partly from heavy smoking. 8.5 marked the first time her voice was heard on screen, allowing her to express her natural presence and contributing to her definitive recognition as a top-ranking star. The same year, she starred as Mara in La Ragazza di Bubba Bibo's Girl, using her own voice and earning her first Nastro d'Argento Award for Best Actress in 1965. She also made her first American film appearance in the Italian-produced The Pink Panther, portraying Princess Dalla opposite David Niven, though her voice was dubbed by Gail Garnett. Niven praised her performance, remarking, After spaghetti, you're Italy's happiest invention. In 1964, Cardinale starred alongside Rod Steiger and Shelley Winters in Francesco Maselli's Time of Indifference, an Italian production, before embarking on a 3-year period in the United States, during which she appeared in several Hollywood films. She strategically avoided signing an exclusive contract with Universal Studios, opting instead for individual projects, a decision that allowed her to maintain artistic autonomy and navigate the American film industry on her own terms. Her Hollywood work included Henry Hathaway's Circus World, 1964, in which she portrayed the daughter of Rita Hayworth in a mother-daughter circus act opposite John Wayne. By the end of the decade, Cardinale returned to primarily Italian productions, willingly accepting lower pay in order to maintain creative control and distance herself from the star system, which she personally disliked. Her decision to prioritize artistic fulfillment over Hollywood stardom meant that, while she did not achieve the same level of international fame as Sophia Loren or Gina Lollobrigida, she amassed a prolific body of work and became known for her consistent appearances in high-quality films throughout the decade. During the mid-1960s, Claudia Cardinale continued to consolidate her status as one of the most prominent actresses in European and international cinema. In 1964, she played the lead role in The Magnificent Cuckold, adapted from the Belgian play Le Coq Magnifique. At the height of her sensuality, Cardinale later recalled that the film brought her little satisfaction due to a lack of empathy with director Antonio Pietrangeli and unwanted advances from co-star Ugo Tognazzi. In 1965, she starred in Luchino Visconti's Sandra, Vague Stelle dell'Orsa, portraying a Holocaust survivor whose character may have had an incestuous relationship with her brother, and later appeared opposite Rock Hudson in Universal Pictures' Blindfold, the last film directed by Philip Dunn. Filmed on location in Ocala, Florida, Cardinale's performance involved the assistance of a double, Diane Bond, yet she formed a lasting friendship with Hudson, who was protective of her during her time in Hollywood. She also became friends with Barbra Streisand, Elliot Gould, and Steve McQueen, though she never felt entirely at home in the United States. By 1966, Cardinale was widely recognized as the most popular film star in Italy, surpassing even Marcello Mastroianni and Sophia Loren in public admiration. Life magazine described her appeal as a blend of solid simplicity and radiant sensuality, capable of inspiring men worldwide to imagine her both as an exciting mistress and a devoted wife. Despite her Hollywood success, Cardinale expressed concerns about the trajectory of her career, fearing over-glamorization and exploitation similar to what she perceived Loren had experienced. She insisted on maintaining control over her career choices, stating in a 1966 interview that she would forego lucrative opportunities rather than become a cliché. That year, a photograph of Cardinale was controversially included in the original gatefold artwork of Bob Dylan's Blonde on Blonde album, without her permission, and subsequently removed from later pressings. In 1966, Cardinale starred in Mark Robson's war film Lost Command, alongside Anthony Quinn, Alain Delon, and George Segal. Quinn praised working with her, noting that, unlike Loren, Cardinale's presence was more relatable and grounded. She also appeared in Richard Brooks' Western The Professionals as a Mexican Marquesa, reuniting on screen with Burt Lancaster in what she considered her best American film. In 1967, she starred in Una Rosa per Tutti, A Rose for Everyone, and Alexander McKendrick's comedy Don't Make Waves, opposite Tony Curtis and Sharon Tate. While the latter was largely panned by critics for a lack of chemistry with Curtis, some, like Leonard Maltin, described it as a gem. During her time in the United States, Franco Cristaldi joined Cardinale, and she was surprised by a wedding ceremony he arranged in Atlanta. Although she went through with the marriage, she became increasingly aware of her limited personal autonomy and concerns over her legal rights regarding her son, Patrick. In 1968, Cardinale won the David D. Donatello Award for Best Actress for her performance in The Day of the Owl, starring alongside Franco Nero in an Italian crime drama. She reunited with Rock Hudson in the Italian-made comedy A Fine Pair, directed by Francesco Maselli, and appeared opposite Rod Taylor in The Hell with Heroes. That same year, she achieved one of her most iconic roles as Jill McBain, a former prostitute, in Sergio Leone's epic western Once Upon a Time in the West. Her performance earned critical acclaim for its depth and nuance, with biographer Robert C. Cumbo noting that her portrayal elevated Jill from a stereotypical whore to a symbol of transformation, representing America itself as a land of reinvention and moral complexity. In 1969, Cardinale starred alongside Nino Manfredi in Luigi Magni's The Conspirators, based on the historical execution of two Carbonari in Papal Rome, followed by roles as a telephone operator in Diary of a Telephone Operator and as a nurse in Mikhail Kalatozov's The Red Tent, portraying the mission to rescue Umberto Nobile and the surviving crew of the airship Italia, alongside Sean Connery and Peter Finch. The 1970s saw Cardinale continue to expand her artistic range, beginning with Jerzy Skolimowski's comedy The Adventures of Gerard, 1970, in which she starred opposite Peter McHenry and Eli Wallach. In 1971, she formed a celebrated on-screen partnership with Brigitte Bardot in the French Western comedy The Legend of Frenchy King, Les Petroliuses, and appeared as a prostitute alongside Alberto Sordi in Luigi Zampa's A Girl in Australia, filmed on location early that year. Her performance in the latter earned her the David D. Donatello Award for Best Actress in 1972. She continued her prolific career with Marco Ferreri's The Audience, 1972, screened at the 22nd Berlin International Film Festival, and roles in La Scomoune alongside Jean-Paul Belmondo and Michel Constantine, and as a Russian aristocrat in One Russian Summer, 1973, opposite Oliver Reed. Cardinale reunited professionally with Franco Nero in Blood Brothers, 1974, a historical drama combining poliziotesque and noir elements, during which she met director Pasquale Squitieri, who would become her husband. In 1975, Cardinale starred in Mauro Bolognini's Libera, My Love, portraying a character who boldly challenges the Italian fascist government, followed by appearances in comedies such as The Immortal Bachelor with Vittorio Gassman and Blonde in Black Leather with Monica Vitti, where both actresses stood out in a predominantly male cast. She further appeared in Alberto Sordi's A Common Sense of Modesty, 1976, and took a biblical role in the Jesus of Nazareth miniseries, 1977, as an adulteress, sharing the screen with Robert Powell and Bancroft and Ernest Borgnine. Cardinale continued her collaborations with Squitieri in I Am the Law, 1977, focusing on the life of Cesare Mori, and in Father of the Godfathers, 1978, a gangster drama set in 1950s Sicily, followed by Larma, 1978. She concluded the decade with a role as Iliana, a Greek brothel madam, in George P. Cosmato's adventure war film Escape to Athena, 1979, starring alongside Telly Savalas. The 1980s saw Cardinale maintain her international profile with a series of distinguished roles. After appearing in Si Salvi Ci Vuole, 1980, and Peter Zinner's The Salamander, she starred opposite Marcello Mastroianni and Burt Lancaster in Liliana Cavani's The Skin, a wartime drama. In 1982, she appeared in Werner Herzog's Fitzcarraldo as a brothel owner funding Klaus Kinski's purchase of a steamship in South America, with critic Vincent Canby noting that she illuminated both her role and Kinski's presence on screen. That year, she also played a leading role in Bankers Also Have Souls alongside Pierre Mondi, demonstrating a mature charm and expressiveness. In 1983, she appeared in the Waris Hussein miniseries Princess Daisy and in the French-Canadian film The Ruffian with Lino Ventura and Bernard Jurado. She reunited with Mastroianni in Marco Bellocchio's Henry IV, 1984, entered into the Cannes Film Festival, and in Squitieri's Claretta, she earned the Nastro d'Argento for Best Actress for her portrayal of Claretta Petacci. Cardinale's subsequent projects included Alberto Bevilacqua's Woman of Wonders, 1985, Comencini's La Storia, 1986, Squitieri's miniseries Naso di Cain, 1986, Diane Curry's A Man in Love, 1987, and Blue Electrico, 1988. She concluded the decade portraying Yolande de Polastron in La Révolution Française, 1989. In the 1990s, Cardinale continued to deliver compelling performances across European cinema and television. She starred in Squitieri's Atto di Dolor, 1990, alongside Bruno Kramer and the Morocco-set Soviet-Italian production The Battle of the Three Kings. In 1991, she appeared in Henri Verneuil's Merig, depicting the struggles of an Armenian family emigrating to Marseille after the Armenian Genocide, a role she reprised in the sequel 588, Rue Paradis, 1992. Her performances were praised by critics and organizations, such as the Armenian General Benevolent Union of America. In 1993, she received the Leone d'Oro alla Carriera at the Venice Film Festival, sharing the honor with Roman Polanski, Robert De Niro, and Steven Spielberg. That year, she reunited with Blake Edwards, Herbert Lom, and Burt Cook for the 30th anniversary of The Pink Panther, in Son of the Pink Panther. Subsequent work included Charlotte Dubreuil's Els Eni Pensent Chuaca. 1994, the French TV serial 10-07, L'Affaire Zeus, 1995, and the British-Italian miniseries Nostromo, 1997, for which she and the cast were nominated for an ALMA award. She also appeared in Sous les Pieds de Femmes, 1997, Squitieri's Stupor Mundi portraying Constance of Aragon, and in Riches, Bells, etc., 1998, as a wealthy baroness delegating her hotel duties to her daughter. In 1999, she played the mother of 2 children involved in Carmine Crocco's army during the Garibaldi era in Squitieri's historical drama Li Camerano, Briganti, further demonstrating her enduring versatility and continued prominence in European cinema. In the 2000s, Claudia Cardinale expanded her artistic repertoire, embracing both stage and screen with remarkable versatility. In 2000, she made her stage debut in Maurizio Scaparo's production of La Veneziana, adapted by René de Secchetti, at the Théâtre du Rond-Point in Paris, while also appearing in her husband Pasquale Squitieri's television film Elizabeth, Il sont tous nos enfants. In 2002, she toured Italy performing Luigi Pirandello's Come to Me Vuoi, directed by Squitieri, and appeared in Claude Lelouch's thriller And Now, Ladies and Gentlemen, portraying a faded countess in Fez, Morocco, whose time is spent among handsome gigolos. The film, screened out of competition at the 2002 Cannes Film Festival, received mixed reviews. While A.O. Scott of the New York Times dismissed it as sublimely silly, he praised the impeccable cinemascope compositions and the lush, suave score by Michel Legrand. Cardinale's theatrical endeavors continued with Philippe Adrian's stage production of Tennessee Williams's Sweet Bird of Youth in 2005, and in 2006 to 2007, she performed in another Williams play, The Glass Menagerie, directed by Andrea Liberavasai, taking on the role of Amanda. She returned to cinema in 2007 with Aline Isserman's comedy Church Fiancé Two Phrases Pays, opposite Alexandra Lamy and Bruno Salamoni, although the role drew criticism from some reviewers. After appearing in the TV movie Hold Up à l'Italienne, 2008, she starred in The String, 2009, portraying a Tunisian mother in a complex relationship with her French-educated gay son, earning praise for her terrific and nuanced performance. In the 2010s, Cardinale continued to receive critical recognition and awards. In 2010, she won the Golden Orange Best Actress Award at the 47th Antalya International Film Festival for her role in Signora Enrica, portraying an elderly Italian woman who welcomes a young Turkish exchange student. The film, a Turkish-Italian co-production, was shot in Istanbul and Rimini. In 2012, she appeared alongside Jean Moreau and Michael Lonsdale in Gibo and the Shadow, the final feature by Portuguese director Manuel de Oliveira, praised for its ensemble of superb older performers. That same year, she acted in The Artist and the Model with Jean Rochefort. Cardinale's later projects included Nadia Zold's Joy de Vie, 2013, and Ernst Gosner's World War I drama The Silent Mountain, 2013, set in the Dolomite Mountains, where she shared legendary stories of Marcello Mastroianni with the production team. In 2014, she portrayed an Italian chaperone viscountess in the British period drama Effie Gray, with critics noting that she and her fellow cast were overqualified for their limited material. Reflecting on her career during promotion, Cardinale emphasized her longevity and continued activity, stating she had worked in 142 films and been fortunate to collaborate with renowned directors including Fellini, Visconti, and Blake Edwards. She received the Tabernas de Cine Award at the Almeria Western Film Festival on October 11, 2018. In the 2020s, Cardinale continued to act in both television and streaming productions. She headlined the Swiss miniseries Buell, 2020, and appeared in the Netflix film Rogue City, with her performance praised by Elizabeth Vincentelli of the New York Times. Cardinale's personal life was marked by resilience and discretion. At the age of 19, she was kidnapped and raped, resulting in a pregnancy. Her son Patrick was initially raised as her younger brother before his true parentage was revealed, and he was later adopted by her then-partner, Franco Cristaldi. Cardinale met Cristaldi in 1958, Although they held a wedding celebration, they never officially married, and eventually became estranged as Cristaldi married model and actress Zudia Raya. Cardinale later lived with Italian director Pasquale Squitieri for 42 years, from 1975 until his death in 2017, and together they had a daughter, Claudia. Her niece Francesca is also an actress. Cardinale was fluent in French, Italian, English, and Spanish, and was a heavy smoker for much of her life, quitting only in the last year of her life. She maintained liberal political views and actively supported feminist causes, remaining proud of her Italian heritage and receiving the Cavalier di Gran Croce dell'Umbrai, Order of Merit of the Italian Republic. She served as a UNESCO Goodwill Ambassador for the defense of women's rights since March 2000 and for World Water Day in 2006. Cardinale published her autobiography Io Claudia, To Claudia with Mori in 1995 and was a frequent attendee of the Academy Awards. Among her honors were an honorary Golden Lion at the 1993 Venice Film Festival and an honorary Golden Bear at the 2002 Berlin Film Festival. The Los Angeles Times Magazine included her among the 50 most beautiful women in film history in 2011. Cardinale emphasized the importance of mystery in her acting, stating that she never revealed herself or her body on screen, valuing the preservation of her independence and identity in a male-dominated industry. In a 2014 interview, she attributed her sustained success to inner strength, noting that each role required her to become a different woman while always returning to her authentic self. Cardinale publicly paid tribute to her longtime friend and co-star Alain Delon following his death, recalling their collaborations in The Leopard, Rocco and His Brothers, and Lost Command. In September 2025, she also expressed her grief over the passing of fashion designer Giorgio Armani, describing herself as filled with immense pain at the news, perhaps marking one of her final public statements. Claudia Cardinale passed away at the age of 87 on September 23, 2025, at her residence in Nemours, Île-de-France. Her funeral was held at Saint-Roch in Paris, drawing attention from fans, colleagues, and global leaders alike. In the wake of her death, tributes poured in from around the world. The president of Italy, Sergio Mattarella, described her as an extraordinary artist, an unforgettable heroine of Italian and international cinema, always loved by the public and highly esteemed by great directors. French President Emmanuel Macron expressed that the French will always carry this Italian and world star in our hearts, in the eternity of cinema. Italy's Minister of Culture, Alessandro Giulli, emphasized her enduring legacy as one of the greatest Italian actresses of all time, highlighting her grace, distinctive beauty, and remarkable career. Prominent actors, including Anushka Dhillon and Antonio Banderas, also paid tribute to her memory, celebrating both her professional achievements and personal influence on the international film community. Cardinale's filmography spans an extraordinary range of roles across Italian, French, and international cinema, marking her as one of the most versatile and enduring actresses of the 20th and 21st centuries. Her career began unexpectedly. While helping at a charity beauty contest in Tunisia, she was pushed on stage and declared the winner. At the time, she had a teacher's certificate and hoped to teach in a Tunisian desert town, showing little initial interest in the numerous film contracts offered to her after her return from Venice. Franco Cristaldi, a producer, offered her a contract without requiring a screen test, with stipulations to guide her career, while he mentored her into becoming a leading film actress. This contract would be the foundation of a career that ultimately transformed her into a global cinematic icon, celebrated for both her beauty and her formidable talent. Claudia Cardinale's passing on September 23, 2025 marks the end of an era in world cinema, yet her legacy remains indelible. She was more than a screen icon. She was a force of nature, a woman whose beauty, talent, and indomitable spirit transcended borders and generations. From the streets of La Galette to the grandeur of Venice, Paris, Hollywood, and beyond, Cardinale embodied the essence of cinematic artistry. She could mesmerize, provoke, and move audiences without ever sacrificing her integrity or her sense of self. She was a star who refused to be confined by the artificiality of stardom, who guarded her mystery while giving her characters soul, and who transformed every role, whether a fiery seductress, a troubled mother, or a resilient heroine, into an unforgettable presence on screen. Her collaborations with legendary directors, Visconti, Fellini, Bolognini, Leone, and countless others, were not just performances. They were masterclasses in cinema, blending sensuality, intelligence, and emotional depth with a rare authenticity. Off-screen, she was a woman of courage and conviction, a political liberal, a defender of women's rights, and a voice of independence in a world often dominated by men. Even in the face of personal trauma, she channeled her experiences into art, showing the world that resilience can coexist with elegance and strength with vulnerability. The tributes from presidents, colleagues, and fans worldwide only hint at the immense impact she had on culture and the hearts of those who loved her. Claudia Cardinale will forever remain an emblem of European cinema, a timeless symbol of grace, beauty, and power, whose work will continue to inspire actors, directors, and audiences for generations to come. She was, and always will be, cinema itself, eternal, luminous, and unforgettable. Her voice may have fallen silent, but her image, her films, and the very spirit of her artistry will continue to speak to the world. Claudia Cardinale is gone from this world, yet she lives forever in the hearts and minds of all who have witnessed her extraordinary talent, an immortal star in the constellation of cinematic history.